So my topic is AIDS, and I will be informing my audience about AIDS. AIDS is life-threatening because of what the history has proven, how it affects the body, and the importance to seek medical care. AIDS was once considered cancer because of the numerous types of cancerous diseases you can get. Like cancer, AIDS has no cure, and it has stages. AIDS is the end stage of HIV 1 and 2. HIV stands for Human Immune Deficiency Virus. AIDS is now recognized as an immune disorder. AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. If left untreated, AIDS can lead to death. AIDS is the last stage of HIV 1 and 2 as stated before and can be fatal. It is important to know the history, how it affects your body, and to seek medical help to prevent any serious problems. I have read and studied books and done research on the internet about AIDS to in-depth my knowledge. Now let's begin discussing the history. AIDS is unsolved because people have no idea when or how it transmitted to humans. It became life-threatening. It is believed to be originated from Africa, and it is believed to be transmitted through us through the butchering and consuming of apes, chimps. AIDS reached its epidemic reach in the early 1980s, and that's when it was first reported. The first case of HIV was believed to be a homosexual who died of PCP in 1982. HIV was discovered in 1983, and it is popular in the U.S. HIV-2, which is popular in Africa, was discovered in 1985. There are many ways to transfer, from prostitution, mother to babies, through unprotected safe sex. Between 1990s to 2015, the number of those getting infected went up. More than 33 million were reported being infected in the U.S. 50,000 deaths were reported each year through this time. By the end of December 31st, 1990, 82,764 cases were reported, 46,244 deaths occurred, and half of these were believed to be homosexuals. 2000 to 2007, 14,700,000 people were infected worldwide, according to UNAIDS and World Health Organization. By the end of 2015, 1.4 million cases were reported, and the number is believed to grow each year and maybe double. 138 countries are believed to be infected. Now that we discussed the history of it, let's discuss how it affects your body. Your body alone cannot fight AIDS off. The immune system is weakened. First, the virus enters the bloodstream and infects T helper cells and macrophages. These two cells together are called CD4 cells. The virus attaches to cells called CD4 receptors, which are called proteins. It inserts their genes through the reproductive system, and it creates infected cells that travel throughout your body. These infected cells produce 1,000 copies of HIV, which again travel through your body. HIV will kill the cell it infects. The immune system creates thousands of CD4 cells daily, but HIV can kill them faster than they are produced. As this process happens, the immune system is damaged, and your body reacts to it. The symptoms are high fever, diarrhea, tiredness, sweats, and loss of appetite. If it's severe, the symptoms are dramatic weight loss, enlarged lymph glands, and yeast infection in mouth and vagina. The immune system is weakened, so it opens doors to infection. A common infection is wasting syndromes, and the symptoms are weight loss, decline of health, and even death. It can infect the brain, which can lead to dementia, which causes loss of senses, trouble thinking, and maybe even loss of memory. And if it's severe, it can cause problems with your coordination, which can lead to you having to seek professional help to get your mental health checked. More dangerous infections once diagnosed with AIDS develop. One that may develop is opportunistic illness, and it opens itself to bacteria such as fungi and protozoa. Once developed opportunistic illness, then one is diagnosed with AIDS. Pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, which is also called PCP, infects the lungs. When taking a blood test, the person has less than 200 CD4 cells in their microliter of blood, it equals AIDS. The symptoms are yeast infection in the esophagus, severe pain when swallowing, and dehydrated. Another thing that may form is cancer called Kaposi sarcoma, which affects the skin and causes tumors called Kaposi sardine and spread quickly and can usually end with death. Now that we discussed how it affects the body, let's discuss the importance to seek medical help. The possibility for testing for HIV and AIDS became available. HIV testing became available in 1985 to use blood, which would calculate your blood count and would have to use blood. HIV-2 testing became available in 1992, which could use blood, saliva, and urine. In 1996, tests for AIDS became available. The test predicted the estimated time, future, and current health in the measure of AIDS. If effective, it could respond to your treatment. As AIDS was rising, doctors recommended ways to stop the spreading of AIDS. They recommended condoms, vaccines to help the immune system, and to practice safe sex. Vaccines are hard to make when AIDS alters all the time. In 2012, an antiretroviral treatment was introduced, which delayed AIDS, inhibits the growth of HIV, and delays the onset of opportunistic illness. A disadvantage is that it has to be taken for the rest of one's life. One common antiretroviral treatment is called HAART. It stands for Highly Active Antiretroviral Therapy. It is a mixture of drugs to stabilize AIDS. An advantage is it improves health and increases your survival time. A disadvantage is that it's very expensive and many cannot afford. To seek medical help when infected with AIDS could definitely benefit your health. Now that I discussed the history of it, discussed how it affects your body, and I have discussed the importance of getting medical help. AIDS is life-threatening because of what history has proven, how it affects the body, and to seek medical help is important. AIDS has been infecting people since who knows when, but it was first reported in the 1980s. It affected people in many ways, their bodies, their brains, their lungs, and so much more, which is why medications and vaccines are there to help delay or even prevent this immune disorder from infecting you. In the end, once infected, there has been no cure that has been reported, which is why it was once considered AIDS in one point of time. Thank you.